possibly be up next? Well, can you imagine? 50 years of Trouser Press magazine. Will you please welcome to the stage, Ira Robbins!
Broken the color code tonight. I'm not wearing black and white, but what are you going to do? Good evening. I stand before you not as a musician or a poet. However, in honor of the day, I have composed a musical history limerick, which I will share with you. There once was a band from Blighty, whose fame in the world was mighty, until a stray quip caused the straight world to flip over their serious lack of piety. Instead, I actually represented this reputable and nearly extinct species, rock critic. 50 years ago this month, following a poorly marked path cut through traditional journalism by folks like Paul Nelson, Lillian Ronson, Lester Banks, Nick Cohn, and Richard Meltzer, I co-founded a magazine with Dave Schultz and the late Karen Rose. We named it the Transoceanic Trouser Press. That wasn't the smart way to convey what we were writing about. Even when we shortened it to Trouser Press, we still got racked in fashion magazine sections of newsstands. We were definitely not fashionable. But we did start out with a clever marketing plan. We thought we would write about artists that we liked who had concerts coming up in New York, and then we could sell the issues in front of the venues. That was why, on March 9th, 1974, the three of us stood in the rain outside the Academy of Music on 14th Street and flogged our 25-cent mimeographed fanzine to fans of the great Irish guitarist Rory Gallagher. Flying blind into the headwinds of do-it-yourself publishing, we managed to carry on for an entire decade, publishing 96 issues that covered everything from bands of the British Invasion to prog rock, power pop, punk, new wave, and beyond. This month, Trouser Press Books published Zip It Up, the best of Trouser Press magazine, 1974-1984. Amazon and from TrouserPressBooks.com, and I actually have discount certificates if anyone would like them. But as a sample of the book, I'd like to share one section, which is called Quotes of the Trouser Press Decade. These are all things, funny things, mean things, bizarre things, honest things, that artists said in our pages. Here we go. Sting of the Police, 1981. When we're completely meaningless and have lost all credibility, such that we can't look a fellow musician straight in the eye, that's probably when we'll be #1 in America. Paul Hewson of U2, 1983. I can think of a lot better pseudonyms than Bono. Why couldn't I have thought of something like Sting? Stuart Copeland of the Police. I won't make any friends saying this, but if Americans like something, it's probably crap. I hasten to point out he was the American in the Police. The original Rolling Stones manager and producer Andrew Loog Oldham told us in 1978, George Martin would have been a terrific producer if he'd only known the right time to go to the toilet. And this is my favorite one. Lou Reed, speaking to an interviewer in 1979, I know your type, a typical downtrodden Jew, a make-believe hippie. This is the worst nightmare. I've dreamed of this on the subway. If you weren't the journalist, you'd never be invited to anything hip. American Bandstand host Dick Clark, 1981. As a cultural contribution, all the Twist did was help chiropractors. Brian Eno, 1982. Pop music isn't by any means the central issue of my life. It's hardly a peripheral one. Nick Lowe, also in 1982. I'm extremely uncommitted to music. It's like a hobby to me. Peter Noon, once of Herman's Hermits, in 1980. People change when they get a hit. Your back straightens, your acne goes. I know because it happened to me. Johnny Ramone, 1978. We wouldn't have girlfriends if we weren't in the Ramones. Mick Taylor, 1979. It just wasn't enough for me to be a guitar player for the Rolling Stones. Think about that for a second. Really? Like, what's going to be better than that, you know? Nico, formerly of the Velvet Underground. I find it very tiresome to be famous. Joe Jackson, speaking about Elvis Costello in 1979, we'd bump into each other in the studio and give each other dirty looks. He thinks he's too much of a star to talk to me, and if I talk to him, I'm groveling, so we don't talk. Elvis Costello, 1977, we used this on the cover. I'm an extraordinarily bitter person. I like this pair. Peter Gabriel, 1980. I think Phil Collins is technically a better singer than I am. Phil Collins, 1976. Most people don't notice he's not there. And here's Tina Weymouth of Talking Heads in 1982. Not to say anything bad about Eno, but whenever we do something great while working with him, he'd say, "No, that sounds too good." Sandy Pearlman, who produced The Clash's second album, Give 'Em Enough Rope, 1979. It wasn't the easiest thing I've ever done, that's for sure. Joe Strummer of The Clash, 1981. I wouldn't call myself a singer. Sam Cooke's a singer. Grace Slick of the Jefferson Starship, 1981. It's hard to sing a song that makes you puke. You can't do both at the same time. I'm really not sure what you meant. Pete Townsend, 1978. I'm not only part of the establishment, I am the establishment. Adam Ant, 1982. I may throw my crotch about a bit, but I can still be innocent inside. Gary Newman, 1981. I never claimed to be original. Martha Davis of the Motels, 1982. If you're going to sell out, make sure they're buying. Kate Bush, recalling her first attempts to get signed, 1978. I put 20 to 30 of my songs on a tape. There was no response. You wouldn't be able to hear a thing, just this little girl with the piano going, yeah, 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 for hours on end. The songs weren't that good. Just a couple more. John Evans Little Who, 1978. If I had my way, I'd be touring 5 or 6 months a year all over the world. I'd go out on stage and play substitute all night. I don't give a damn as long as I'm playing. Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick. This is glamorous, yeah. You drag your butt all over the world. It's a regular job. Cyril Jordan on the Flamin' Groovies' lack of U.S. success in 1978. We don't have no big-ass fucking lawyer who goes down and gives a blowjob to some asshole at CBS. Johnny Rotten, 1977. I like Jonathan Richman. I think he's got a great sense of humor. If he's kidding, that is. And 2 more and I'll be out of your hair. Frank Zappa, 1980. Stupidity is like hydrogen. It's everywhere. It's the basic building block of the universe. It's probably the smartest thing he ever said. And William S. Burroughs, 1982. We had William S. Burroughs interview Devo for us. And this is one of the things he said. If you wrote about death completely convincingly, you'd kill all your readers.